Hello everyone, welcome back to the Will the Reaper channel. In today's video, I'm going to be determining which cards take skill and which cards do not take skill, ranging from high skill to some skill to low skill to absolutely no skill whatsoever. I just played a few games earlier today, and after coming across several Mega Knights and Royal Recruits, I'm like, I gotta make this video. Because, yeah, there are certain cards that are dependent on value, like how much elixir they have, placement, and timing. And those are the three main things that I'm going to be focusing on for each card to determine what their skill is. Because some definitely have a lot more skill than others, and some just have much less skill than others. So, starting off with skeletons, very high skill. Most people think you could just spam them, and in certain cases, yes, you can cycle back to them, especially at the Evo. But in reality, you can stop full on like Mega Knights, mini P.E.K.K.A.s. Like you could do a whole bunch of stuff with skeletons. If you place them properly, yeah. If you have skill, which you need skill for the most part to play them effectively, yeah, skeletons are one of the highest skilled cards in the game. Golem does not take skill. To actually play the golem, you just have to place him down and then support him. So the card itself, you just put down. That's basically it. The only thing that takes skill is elixir management. You have to really know when to use him. But other than that, you kind of just plop him down, and it's really how you support the golem where it takes skill. Goblins take some skill. I mean, you have to determine when you should put him down, right? There's four of them. You have to determine when you should flank him. It requires some skill because it's cheap. It's easy to place, but I mean, it also depends on timing and stuff because it's mostly a defensive card, so it takes some skill. Wizard, I love the wizard, but very low skill. The Evo even makes it more less skill because I mean, it doesn't really require great timing or placement. In some instances, it requires placement, but for the most part, like, kind of just put him in the back behind a tanky unit, and that's it. So, really low skill. Balloon, the balloon itself, I don't really think takes a lot of skill. I mean, you kind of just put the card down. Maybe low skill because I guess like timing matters, right? You have to focus on when your opponent has like little to no elixir. But really, what most people with balloon do is they put it in the opposite lane to force pressure, and they don't entirely care if it gets shot down or not. They kind of just gamble on it, and you have to gamble with a card. It doesn't really take skill. Zap definitely takes some skill. I mean, it is essentially just a card that you put down to stop a push. But I mean, it could kill skeletons. It could do serious damage to goblins. The main reason why it takes skill is to reset certain units, right? Not even like Inferno Towers and Inferno Dragons, but to like change the target, right? If you have two units that are clashing against each other, but you want one of them to lock onto something else to put a zap down, it definitely takes some skill. Knight, I mean, especially the Evo and especially the Hero, do not require a whole lot of skill. Literally, Hero Knight is like so no skill. You just put it down and then use the ability. But the actual regular Knight, I mean, you kind of just put it down. Actually, some skill because it definitely depends on placement. You could definitely kite certain cards. It's definitely tanky, could deal a good amount of damage. So it takes some skill. Archer, same thing. Placement is definitely important since they're very small and can die to a lot of things. It definitely matters where you put them. But you're essentially just putting them in the back, and proper placement is everything. Maybe proper timing, but that's it. They're kind of cheap, so you don't have to worry about overcommitting. Minions are more on the low skill side. I mean, you kind of just put them on top of whatever tank or win condition your opponent's throwing at you, and that's it. They got a buff where they have even more range, but I mean, they can die to many spells, so you have to just consider that when putting them down. Arrows is on the low skill side. I mean, you kind of just put it down. They can be useful for killing things, not only like skeleton armies or goblin gangs, but also for like firecrackers and dark goblins, right? You kind of have to, if your opponent has a goblin barrel, a firecracker, and a goblin gang, and you only have like one arrow or one area damage spell, you have to think like, should I eliminate the Goblin Barrel before it deals a lot of damage. I eliminate the Firecracker so I could better support my push. Different things like that. So, in the grand scheme of things, though, you just kind of put it down on multiple units, and that's it. Cannon honestly is high skill. I mean, it's the best tower in the game. It's the best building in the game. It only costs 3 elixirs, so you don't have to do much. But in the majority of decks where you're using cannon, you're going to be going up against a lot of things. Like, for example, if you have to defend a Hog Rider with a cannon, placement definitely matters, and timing definitely matters. Most people that use cannon, it requires skill to use. I use a beatdown deck, so whenever I see my mini P.E.K.K.A. or P.E.K.K.A. get obliterated by the cannon, I'm always like, whatever. But like realistically, like the cannon's not used for a P.E.K.K.A., so I can't be like, oh, it's no skill. Like the P.E.K.K.A., the cannon's used for like stopping fast cards efficiently. So I'd say it's definitely on the higher skill side. Tesla, I definitely would say requires some skill. I mean, I feel like it's just a worse version of a cannon, but it could also target air units as well. Placement definitely matters, and because it costs 1 more elixir, that definitely matters as well. But I feel like it's not normally used to counter maybe it's used to counter hog rise, but I mostly see Teslas getting paired with like Expo, stuff to like kind of support other units and stuff. But on its own, defensively, it definitely takes some skill. Mortar, okay. Mortar actually takes skill to use, right? I mean, essentially, you just put it down, right? Like a golem. But to actually get value off of the mortar, you need to be defending that thing constantly. And yeah, sure, you could put it right at the bridge and then just, defend it for 2 seconds and then boom, you get like 500 damage. But like, no, to actually use a mortar efficiently, you have to be quick. You have to be on the dot with whatever your opponent. If your opponent puts down a skeleton army, boom, immediate log. If your opponent puts down like a hog rider, boom, immediately like tombstone or like mini P.E.K.K.A., something like that. It takes a lot of skill to use mortar. I don't use mortar. I am not a huge fan of siege decks, but kudos to those who use siege decks because they're very annoying to go against. But I mean, it definitely requires some skill to use. Barbarians, I guess barbarians are kind of low skill. You kind of just put them down, and that's it. I mean, to get value, you have to be you have to be a little bit smart about it. But I wouldn't say like no skill. I'm not like, wow, you just put them down. I can't believe you did that. You know what I mean? Like if they're 5 elixir. That's a pretty penny. If you're putting out 5 elixir for 5 barbarians that could all basically die to fireball, you better have a backup plan to counter push. Minions, I use minions. Honestly, like minions are kind of no skill. You kind of just put them on top, and that's it. You put them on top of whatever thing you wanna kill. And then they basically die 2 seconds later. It's a big cop out card. Like if I don't have anything on defense, but I have 5 elixir, I'll just put them down and hope for the best. Yeah, I use this card all the time. I love this card. And it could also be a good counter push, but yeah. I would say it's probably no skill. You kind of just put it down. Actually, maybe low skill, because placement definitely matters. If there's like a firecracker behind your opponent's win condition, you have to be smart about it, but they don't really take, it's not like it's abysmally low skill. Tombstone definitely takes some skill. You have to put it down effectively. Placement and timing matter a lot. Musketeer is some skill, because you have to be back supporting this thing constantly. It could die. I think to lightning or whatever, it could die to basically 1 mini P.E.K.K.A. hit. You have to be careful about how you use the Musketeer. Valkyrie, okay. Valkyrie definitely takes skill. But I don't know. Placing, because I'm thinking placement's what matters. But I mean, it is kind of a cop-out card on defense. The Evo, at least. The Evo Valkyrie is so annoying. I do not think the Evo Valkyrie really takes a lot of skill. It kind of just plop in the middle and watches everything just takes damage. It's very annoying. But the actual Valkyrie itself definitely takes some skill. Hog Rider, it really depends. It really depends on what deck you're using. Like, if you're doing a Hog Freeze, then you're a loser and you have no skill. But in the majority of decks, right, where they're doing cycling, Hog is the main thing, right? Where you have to, it's the main damage dealer, right? You have to put it down. You have to be precise about it. The timing's everything. Timing is everything with this card. I wouldn't say it's the highest skill. I definitely say it takes some skill. Because again, you do kind of just like put it down, right? And then maybe put down like a spell behind it, and that's it. If you fail your prediction or whatever, okay. But you could definitely easily get value off of the Hog Rider. Mini P.E.K.K.A is on the low skill side. I use Mini P.E.K.K.A in my deck. You get so much value out of it, man. Like you kind of just put it down and it just obliterates like a Hog Rider or anything that your opponent's pushing with, and then you could set up for a decent counter attack. You do have to have good predictions if you are attacking with it because it only has what like 1200 HP, so it is a little bit squishy. But I mean, you do get just so much value. Like if your opponent puts down a Hog Rider, you put down the mini P.E.K.K.A. All you have to do is place it properly. Ding, pancakes, and then that's it. Like it's over. Fireball, definitely some skill. It costs 4 elixir instead of 3, like the arrows. It could deal a lot more damage. And most importantly, the range is smaller, so you kind of have to have good placement, good timing. Bomb tower, I don't know. I don't really see Bomb Tower being used a lot. In matchups where I guess you have like Royal Hogs, it could be good. I mean, you get value off of it that way. I mean, I guess it definitely requires some skill to use. You know, you have to have proper timing and placement for it to pop off. But I don't really see it getting value that much. It's definitely not a low skill card. I just don't see it getting a whole lot of value. Bomber, I mean, Bomber definitely some skill. Depends on where you place him, especially since he's so like brittle. Right, he could die in 2 seconds. So it definitely matters how you put him down. Goblin Hut, same thing. Placement matters. Giant's really no skill. I mean, you kind of just put him down, put like a witch, wizard, or archers behind it, or a spell, and then it just gets value. Does not really take a whole lot of skill to use. The only skill that really matters is if you're gonna overcommit or not. Princess. I mean, okay, I hate hyperbait and log bait. Everybody hates hyperbait. All my homies truly hate hyperbait. But Princess itself, I mean, you have to know when to pressure, right? You have to know when to put it on the. You have to know when to put the Princess on the bridge, right? Or like counter push with it, right? If you split push with the Princess. So in that case, it definitely does take skill, but I don't know if it would take a whole lot of skill because all most people do with this card is just put it at the bridge when the time's right, and that's it. Like you're not really doing much with it. There's no setup involved. You just have to hope that you place it down and your opponents can't do anything. Inferno Tower definitely takes some skill to use. I mean, placement is everything, timing's everything. And most importantly, you have to pray that your opponent does not put a spell down. So that it definitely takes a good amount of work to get some value in it. Rocket. Okay, Rocket is just a card they kind of put down. If people do like a Rocket cycle, it definitely takes high skill. I will say actually that it is a high skill card to use because yes, you could just put it down and kill whatever, but it costs 6 elixir. It costs so much elixir, and you really have to know when to use this card wisely and when not to overcommit with elixir. So yeah. I'd say it's high skill. Again, this is my opinion. I could be completely wrong. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments if I'm doing a horrible job. Now, Elixir Collector. Elixir Collector takes some skill. I mean, you have to know when to place this card down to get value. Because it could literally just die from a rocket. Even a fireball will take more than half its HP away. So you have to know when to actually put this card down to get value out of it. So it's definitely interesting. It definitely takes skill. Um, Barb Hut. I mean, I don't think anyone uses Barb Hut. So like, I don't know. You kind of just put it down and it gets value. It's a It's a spawner. It's low skill. Mirror. Okay. I mean, really depends what you're mirroring, but I'd say mirror does take high skill. Um, if you decide to overcommit, spend that one extra elixir to get not only a duplicate card of what you just put down, but also an additional level, it would definitely take a bit of skill. Again, it depends what you're doing. If you are mirroring a goblin barrel, you're a loser, right? But still, you're spending that over. You're knowing when to commit, right, and when not to overcommit. So it's a good estimation. I'd say it takes skill. Rage spell. I love rage spell. Really low skill, actually. The only thing that matters is like timing, right? Like I use a P.E.K.K.A beatdown deck that has mini P.E.K.K.A minion horde, wizard, rage spell, vines, and one other card I can't think of, skeleton army. So if like someone uses a skeleton army on my P.E.K.K.A, right, I have to have decent placement to make sure I get every single skeleton, right? But realistically, this spell is used in like beatdown decks, right, where you kind of just plop it down, everything goes berserk. But I don't really use it in the instance where like I'm just making things more aggressive and getting value. I'm using it in where it's like I'm killing the spear goblins in a goblin gang. I'm killing a skeleton army. It's not like I'm just plopping it down and saying, haha, my push is stronger. I'm trying to like get some utility out of it, which it definitely takes proper timing and placement. But I wouldn't say it's like brain dead. I could be wrong though. Skeleton army is really low skill. I mean, you might be, if someone's split pushing, right, and you use the skeleton army effectively, you can kind of bring both pushes in together. But other than that, kind of just put it down and hope that your opponent doesn't have loggers at. Okay. To get value out of the goblin barrel, it really does not take much at all. But again, you have to make sure your deck is properly supporting the goblin barrel to use it effectively. But I mean, unless your opponent has a spell, you're almost always going to get value out of it. So it definitely takes some skill to use. Baby Dragon, I'd say it definitely takes skill with the placement. Yeah. Freeze spell, okay, freeze spell, low skill. Okay, honestly, freeze spell is super annoying, but it costs 4 elixir. You do have to know when to use it, because if not, you'd overcommit, and you give your opponent a huge elixir advantage. But the card in itself is so annoying. Like, you kind of just put it down on a balloon or a hog that, that your opponent just put down, like, a counter to it, and you just freeze it, and now your whole tower's gone. Really annoying. Which, I think, which requires not a lot of skill. You kind of put it in the back to support, like, a P.E.K.K.A or a giant, and it just does its thing. I mean, it can die to a rocket, so just keep that in mind, but not a lot of skill to use. Prince, not a lot of skill to use. I mean, you kind of just put it down and support it, and that's it. There's nothing really special about it. I don't think it really requires the best placement to use. It just charges in a straight line. Goblin Giant requires skill. If you get value out of this card, good for you, because it's difficult. I mean, you could just clone it, right? Which, whatever. And you're always gonna get value if the bomb kills everything. But to actually get the giant skeleton to the tower is a whole different story. So it definitely takes some skill to use. Lightning spell definitely takes some skill. Um, I mean, you need proper placement. You need proper placement, proper timing, because obviously you're always going to get value out of it. But if it's something where it's like your opponent has like a witch, wizard, and a musketeer, but also they just put down a skeleton army, like, you better have that placement down properly, because if not, you're screwed. Expo requires high skill. I hate to say it, I hate siege decks, but I mean, it's 6 elixir that can be dealt with a skeleton army or mini P.E.K.K.A. If it's like literally, if they spam at the bridge, you have to constantly be defending this expo by any means necessary. And yeah, like, you're gonna be constantly pressured by people to break your expo. And it requires a lot of elixir management. You have to know if this is an overcommitment or not. I still hate them though. P.E.K.K.A is low skill. I mean, the only thing I could think of is timing and placement, right? If your opponent has a Hog Rider and you put down a P.E.K.K.A, you can wipe out the Hog Rider in 2 hits. right? You could pull things toward you, right? If you put the P.E.K.K.A in the middle, this big beefy guy, and let's say you have like a Mega Knight in one hand and like a Hog Rider, or not Hog Rider, you have like a Mega Knight in one hand, maybe like a Dark Prince on the other, you can put the P.E.K.K.A down, but I love P.E.K.K.A, it's my favorite card in the game. Doesn't really take a lot of skill. Not a lot of skill at all. I wouldn't say it's no skill. It's not like the Golem where you just put it down and then it's like, ooh, I'm gonna get value. Like it you need proper placement. Royal Giant. Okay, Royal Giant you're almost always going to get value out of, but you do have to defend it properly because again, similarly to the Expo, like it could get taken out by the mini pack in like 2 seconds. So you have to be supporting this properly. Three Musketeers honestly is high skill. Because, I mean, listen, they got that buff, right? They're very good now, but it is 9 elixir. That is the most expensive card in the game. If you put this card down, you better have the strategy and the skill to back up this card so it doesn't die in 2 seconds and you lose your elixir, right? You better make sure that this is a positive elixir trade because if not, you're done for. Dark Prince, I feel like no, I feel like it's the same thing as a regular Prince. I mean, the shield could have some good utility, but I mean, it doesn't take a lot to get value out of it. Poison, uh, Poison. I mean, you kind of just put down. I don't really think it takes a lot of skill to get value out of. Ice Wizard. Okay, depending on what you do with the Ice Wizard, yes, it definitely takes skill. I wouldn't say it takes a whole lot of skill, because of the spawn damage buff it got, which can wipe out like a skeleton arm or whatever, but to use this card effectively when it doesn't do the spawn damage, to slow down cards and distract pushes, it definitely takes skill. Fire Spirit, I mean, if you're using it to distract a unit, yes, but you kind of just put it down and it dies in 2 seconds. Okay, I mixed this tier list around, so I have some Evos here. I mean, Barbs are the same thing, Evo Barbs. Evo Dark Goblin, okay, Evo Dark Goblin, um, I mean, it takes some skill. You kind of the way most people use this card is you just put it in the back, and kill like a P.E.K.K.A or Golem in like 3 seconds. So I mean, I don't know, placement matters, but that's it. Furnace is low skill. You put it in the back, it makes fire spirits, attacks things. That's it. Guards definitely require some skill because they have armor on them, right? You don't need as good placement or timing as skeletons, but because it is 3 elixir for things that just have a shield and then die, you do need skill. I mean, okay, tower chefs. I mean, tower troops aren't included. Well, maybe I don't know. I guess it depends on how you use them, but I don't think they're included. Let me just put not included, and then every tower troop's gonna go there. All right. Sorry about that. Miner's one of the highest skill cards in the game. It can be put down anywhere, right? So it's endless utility. It deals like basically no damage, right? So you have to be using this card properly. It just has so many uses, and pro players really have to know when and where to put down the miner to get value out of it. Great card. Sparky, no, not no skill, because there's placement definitely matters, but you kind of just sit there and watch it charge up. That's it. Lava Hound. I mean, Lava Hound's gonna go with Golem. You kind of just put it down and then in the back, and then put it with like the balloon or with the witch, and that's it. It doesn't really do much. Vine Spell, low skill. I use this card. Uh, I mean, it's an annoying card like Freeze. I will admit I'm a jerk in the game, okay? Like I use a P.E.K.K.A beatdown deck that uses vines. Vines have helped me win many, many games, but the timing and placement do matter a whole lot to actually use this card. The timing is just so important. But realistically, you're just stopping a tower troop or a unit from attacking for 2 seconds. Ice Spirit takes skill. I mean, you could use it to like kite, you could use it to stall, right? Definitely takes skill to use, but not an unbearable amount of skill. You kind of just put it down. Evo skeletons are like the same thing as regular skeletons. Evo zap would be the same thing. Bowler takes skill. To actually use bowler effectively and get like counter push value out of it, you need some skill for it, right? It costs 5 whole elixir. It's tanky. It can hit units in the back. Yeah, takes skill. Mega Knight. Do I even have to say this? I mean, for both regular Mega Knight and Evo Mega Knight, where's the regular Mega Knight? I think it goes without saying that Mega Knight is top 3, if not top most no skill card in the game. It's 7 elixir, right? So you have to commit to it. But realistically, I mean, the card is just such a huge cop out. If your opponent pushes with like, I don't know, like a hog rider, a witch, whatever, it doesn't matter. The amount of damage that the Mega Knight does when it spawns can literally wipe out entire pushes. Just from spawning alone, it could take out like a witch, a wizard, and hogs, or severely cripple them. It is a card that does not require much placement or timing at all. The only placement it requires is right smack in the middle of your opponent's push, and the timing, whenever it get the most amount of damage. And then after that, it basically clears everything out, and then becomes a massive, massive counter push. So you almost always get value out of this card. It is really dumb, and the Evo's just even more annoying because you get even more value out of it. Cannon card takes skill. Not a lot of people use this card. It's 5 elixir. You have to use it properly, and if the unit dies, it becomes a cannon. I don't know enough about Spirit Empress. I'm gonna be honest. So I'm just not gonna include it. Evo Goblin Cage. I mean, yeah, it takes skill. You have to know when to put it down properly. I mean, realistically, hold on. Realistically, you kind of put the card down like when your opponent has a tank, and then it kills the tank in 2 seconds. But I mean, still though, using a goblin cage other than like a cannon, it costs I think 1 more elixir. It definitely takes skill to use. Log. I mean, placement and timing matter, but you're almost always going to get value out of it. But you just put it down on a princess, or skeleton armor, or goblin gang, whatever. And speaking of log, we have the lumberjack. Now the lumberjack doesn't really take a lot of skill to use. I mean, I guess placement and timing matter, but when most people use the lumberjack, they don't really care if it dies because they're just waiting to put down the balloon and then get boosted from the rage. So, you know, Snow Golem, definitely, or Ice Golem, high skill. I mean, the card is literally cannon fodder, but you need proper placement to successfully kite a unit, or else it's not going to work. It almost, like, what's it called? The value you get completely relies on where and when you place this. So the timing and placement has to be perfect. And if you can get value out of it, if you can fully kite a P.E.K.K.A. or a hog rider or something, not when I would not kite a hog rider. Sorry, if you could fully kite like a P.E.K.K.A. or a mini P.E.K.K.A. or something like that, congratulations, like good for you. So yeah, high skill. Evil Executioner. I mean, it depends on if you use Tornado with this or not. There's definitely some setup required. Same thing with the regular Executioner. Where is he? Boom. Okay, Evo Royal Giant does not take skill. Evo Royal Giant doesn't take. Oh wait, what am I doing? I put him in high skill. Evo Royal Giant does not take any skill at all to use, really. I mean, again, you do have to set him up, but now more than half the counters to the Royal Giant will just die or get knocked away, and he will almost always get value no matter what you do. So the regular Royal Giant, yes. The Evo Royal Giant, no. Evo Archers, same. They're kind of like the same thing as the regular Archers, just a bit more powerful. But again, timing and placement does matter. Mega Minion, no one really uses Mega Minion anymore. It's 3 elixir for a beefy minion. I definitely think it would take skill to place this card down and get value out of it. I mean, again, you could kind of just put it on top of your opponent's push, but you can get some serious Counter push value out of it. Yeah. I don't know. It's not going to deal as much damage as the regular minions because it's only one of them and not three. So you have to be smart about where and when you use this. Suspicious Bush. To actually get value out of the Suspicious Bush, I mean, you have to hope your opponent doesn't have a spell. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, you kind of just place it down and hope for the best, which is not that good of a card. Actually, it's probably not a lot of skill. But I mean, I guess to like have the bush actually hit the tower, it would require skill. But really, you kind of just put it down while you distract your opponent with other stuff. Inferno Dragon, placement matters, timing matters. But other than that, yeah, it doesn't really take the most amazing amount of skill, but it's not like you could just put it down and hope for the best, right? If it's like an Electro Giant, you have to kind of have proper placement for it. Can't just really put it, and you can't just really put it in the back, right? You have to like kind of put it in the front, but you also have to make sure that like firecrackers and stuff don't hit them. I think I'm saying that right. Spear goblins, I mean, they're basically like regular goblins. You can kite certain troops, timing and placement matter. The Evo Lumberjack is like no skill because if the Lumberjack dies, the ghost just does its job. That's it. Graveyard Spell, the only card in the game that actually has RNG or luck. To possibly get value. This card is you kind of just put it down and that's it. You put it down, you put it with like poison, right? Graveyard poison, minor graveyard, giant graveyard, right? You just put down a nice tank or whatever, put down the graveyard behind it and watch it get value. Not a lot of skill to that. Elite Barbarians, you basically, the way most people use this card, you split push with it. You pray to God your opponent doesn't have like a skeleton army. If they do, you put down a log or worse. The infamous Elite Barbarians with Rage. And yeah, no, not a lot of skill to use this card. 6 Elixir is a lot, so I give it that. But the way most people are using it, yeah. Tornado is one of, if not the most skilled card in the game. You can alter a lot of different interactions with the Tornado. It has so much defensive value and defensive potential. You really have to know true placement, true timing to get good value out of it. Because again, it's not like it's like a fireball. It's not like it's going to deal a lot of damage. So you have to use its you have to use its ability of dragging units, which takes a lot of skill in itself. Clone spell. I mean, clone spell, you have to determine what you're going to clone. But in most instances, it's going to be like Giant Skeleton or something, and you just kind of use it at the last second. Like, oh, I guess I'll clone this card. Boom. And that's it. You're almost always going to get value with the clone spell if you use it right. Right? If you have a Giant Skeleton, clone it. It dies. The bomb gives you value. Yeah. Evo Bomber. Definitely takes skill to use compared to other Evos. It's like the Magic Archer, and the Magic Archer is one of the most skilled cards in the game. So yeah, definitely takes skill. Electro Wizard, it does the spawn damage, which, again, not a huge fan of that happening. But, I mean, it only targets 2 things, and it can only be used in certain matchups, so I'd say it takes skill to use. Goblin Gang, placement is huge. You can get... I've seen a video of a Mega Knight getting fully countered by a Goblin Gang. Placement is huge with this card, but you're almost always going to get value out of it. So I'd say it's a no-skill card. A low-skill card. Dark Goblin. To get value out of this thing, placement and timing definitely matters. Unless you do the stupid hyperbait thing where you just put it at the bridge and it gets value that way, it's dumb. But yeah. Battering Ram, you kind of just put down and defend it. That's it. Low skill. Bats can literally die to rage. You just kind of put them on top of your opponent's push. That's it. Heal Spirit. It depends on how you're using the Heal Spirit in certain instances, but I'd say kind of just put it down and watch it heal your stuff. You're always going to get value out of this, basically. Bandit. I feel like Bandit definitely takes some skill to use, right? If you just put it in the pocket when you're up a tower and it just dashes into a tower. Okay, whatever, you're a loser. But I don't know, to get actual value out of this, out of a bandit, you're definitely gonna need skill. Night Witch, I mean, to even get value out of a Night Witch, I don't even know how you would do that. It would definitely take skill to use. Skeleton Barrel, come on. The Skeleton Barrel's low skill. You just put it down, and then that's it. You put it down to bait out your opponent's log, and that's it. Thanks, log bait. Flying Machine, I feel like the placement matters a lot, because you can definitely snipe your opponent's building from afar, but you have to make sure you're not giving your opponent any fireball value or anything like that. So some skill. Zappy's placement can matter, because it can definitely matter because you can stop a double-sided push with 3 Zappies. So yeah, it definitely takes some skill to use. Bar Barrel, I feel like it would take. It has a smaller range than or length than a log, but to get value out of that barbarian, it's interesting. So skill or some skill. Hunter, I mean Hunter. It depends on placement. So I'd say it definitely takes some skill. Royal Ghost. Okay, Royal Ghost is kind of like the Suspicious Bush, except it can attack units. So it'd really depend on how you're using this. I'd say Royal Ghost is definitely in a high skill ceiling. Magic Archer is like, you got like the top 3 here: Skeletons, Magic Archer, Tornado. To get value, like actual good value out of Magic Archer, you have to have insanely good placement and insanely good setup. I'm talking about, like, you have to make sure that your Magic Archer is having a direct shot to the tower every time to get good value out of it. Insanely high skill card. I can definitely not use the Magic Archer effectively. Rascal's low skill, I mean, maybe placement matters if you're defending properly, right? And you want them like split off to the side, but I mean, they're 5 elixir, they're not awesome. I don't know. I feel like you could get value out of them. Snowball. Snowball's low skill. It's kind of like a rage almost, but instead of helping your troops, you just slow down your opponents. Royal Recruits. Oh my god, Royal Recruits is top right here. Royal Recruits is by far the most no-skill card in the game. You know, Mega Knight is second place, but Royal Recruits is just a whole different ballgame. Placement does not matter for Royal Recruits. Timing does not matter for Royal Recruits. If you're a second too late, I guess it's fine, right? If you place it a bit too far or a bit too close, doesn't really matter anyway. You have 6 guys, 6 guards basically, with much higher health than skeleton guards that can easily split push lanes. These, if you put down Royal Guards as a defensive card, you are almost always going to get offensive value, or at least pressure, right? Where your opponent has to commit elixir to stopping it. If you use Royal Recruits on offense, it doesn't really make it any better because you still have to defend 2 sides. The Royal Recruits, I don't care if they were 10 elixir, the Royal Recruits are the most no-skill card in the game because literally placement does not matter. You will almost always get value with this card. It is so dumb. Sorry for rambling. Royal Hogs. Royal Hogs take some skill, but if you're splitting them off to the side and stuff like that, you're a loser. Because you're almost always going to get value, but they're 5 elixirs, so you have to make sure you're not overcommitting. This guy, I don't know what this guy is. Baby Lava Hound? I don't know. Goblin Giant, low skill. I mean, especially when they had, like, the Goblin Giant P.E.K.K.A. beatdown deck, it was, like, the most no-skill card ever. But now that it got nerfed, you have to actually, like, use this card wisely, but you're probably not going to. To get value out of it, you just put it down. That's it. Electro Dragon. To get value out of the Electro Dragon, you have to make sure you have a good matchup. Yeah, definitely takes some skill. Ram Rider, I mean, it's literally going to be kind of similar to Hog Rider. Costs 1 more elixir, but has the same function. It just charges at something. But it can be used offensively. Hold on. It can be used offensively, because she slows it down and can attack other units other than just buildings. But again, it's kind of like you just put it down and hope for the best. Oh, wall breakers. Oh my god, wall breakers. I hate this card. Wall breakers you just put down. That's it. You can kite troops with it, but most of the time you're just doing it to build pressure. You don't even care if they connect or not. You're just building pressure. So your opponent commits for like log bait or hyper bait. Earthquake takes skill, right? Because you're essentially, most people use this to deal a lot of damage to buildings over time. But I mean, depending on when you use it, right? Definitely place and timing matter. You can have like a hog rider or royal hogs go down, and they help slow whatever units are attacking your push. So take some skill. Goblin cage, same thing as the Evo cage. Fisherman also one of the highest. Because to get value out of him, you need really, really, really good placement and timing. The card is very weak. But you can get so much defensive potential and offensive potential by properly pulling away certain units. Yeah, one of the highest skilled cards in the game. Elixir Golem. Now, the thing with Elixir Golem, you give your opponent Elixir if he dies. So you have to know how to properly, like, commit properly and, like, build a nice push. But most people that use it just use, like, Battle Healer and other garbage like that. So in most cases, the Elixir Golem's not really used in a skillful way. So no. Battle Healer, hear me out. You kind of just put her in the back. Does not take a lot of skill to use. I don't think anyone uses this card to kite or defend or anything. They kind of just put it down right behind Elixir Golem. Does not take a lot of skill to use nowadays. Firecracker. I mean, you run the risk of giving your opponent an activated King Tower, but placement and timing do matter. But with the Evo and stuff like that, or just even regular, like, you can easily get a lot of value off of it. And plus, it demands a counter for like arrows, or else you're gonna get a lot of value. So low skill. Evo's like even worse. Evo's just like, I don't want to say she's no skill because she never requires proper timing and placement, but you almost always get value out of her, especially if she lands a hit on your tower. It's just annoying. This guy's not included. Royal Delivery. Royal Delivery is definitely a higher skilled card because it has a delay, right? It has that few second delay. And you have to know how to get proper value out of the guard. And I can easily say the Royal Delivery is the most underrated card in the game. It is probably the best defensive card in the entire game, hands down. You can get so much value out of the Royal Delivery, but you have to place it properly. You have to know when to use it. You can't just put it down on a push and go like, okay, it's gonna get value. You have to know when to use it. Skeleton dragons, I don't know, like, maybe some skill. You could split push with it or whatever, but they're very squishy and they die easily. Electro Spear, I don't know why people use this card. I don't see how you could possibly get value out of it. You can easily give your opponent a King Tower activation, but I guess for resetting certain like units, like the Inferno Dragon, Inferno Tower, it could be good. So I mean, if you use this card and somehow get value, good for you. Electro Giant is no skill. Electro Giant does not require proper timing or placement. You put him down as long as you have a spell or a unit to back him up, he'll almost always get value. I mean, he literally counters almost like half the cards in the game if they're melee. He could take out like entire skeleton armies by himself. Yeah. Mother Witch, I mean, Mother Witch, you're kind of just hoping to have a proper matchup, right? If a skeleton army comes your way, you just put her down and you get value upon value. But I mean, I don't know. I guess like timing kind of helps, but if you use this card in a deck in general, like, good for you, even though she's annoying. Goblin Drill, I feel like Goblin Drill definitely takes some skill to use. It's kind of like the Miner, but I don't know. I feel you get more value out of it because it would spawn the goblins. So let's say you rocketed the Goblin Drill, well, 2 goblins would spawn out anyway and give you value. Okay, Golden Knight, him and his dash ability, I don't know. I guess it takes some skill. You have to know when to use the dash ability, but you kind of just put it in the back and watch as it charges forward. Or you put the bridge and call for immediate attention. Archer Queen definitely takes some skill. You have to know when to use her invisible ability. Skeleton King, same. But Mighty Miner, I guess Mighty Miner. I guess they all require some skill, but not like an unbelievable amount of skill. Phoenix, you kind of just put down wherever, and then when it dies, it resurrects again. So it could be a very good offensive card, but I feel like you're probably gonna get value out of it. Uh, Monk actually takes very high skill. His ability solely relies on predicting things properly. If you can counter a rocket with his ability, good for you, man. So yeah. I mean, if you use it for like a musketeer, then like okay, whatever. But most of the time, it takes a lot of skill to use a monk. Little Prince does not take any skill. You kind of just put him down on a tank that your opponent's pushing you with, and then you just use his ability if there's a massive wave of units coming your way. Void Spell, I don't know. I guess Void Spell takes some skill. No one really uses it ever since it got nerfed. But I guess if you have to determine whether or not you're going to use this on a Goblin Gang or like on a single unit to deal more damage, that's where the skill comes in. Goblin Demolisher. I guess low skill because you can easily get value, right? When it takes damage, it becomes an offensive threat that requires immediate pressure. So yeah, Goblin Curse is like no skill. Goblin Curse, if your opponent has like a minion horde or a skeleton army or bats, you just put it on top of it and basically get value immediately. Your opponent puts down bats, you put down Goblin Curse, they immediately have to respond with like arrows or that you get value immediately. It's so dumb. The only thing that takes skill is hoping that you get a good matchup. That's it. Goblin Machine, barely any skill. Ever since it got nerfed, I mean, you have to use it properly because like 5 or 6 elixir. But I mean, I don't know. He can get a lot of value easily. So, uh, Goblinstein. I feel like to actually get value out of him with his ability properly, you would definitely need some skill. I'm actually gonna put him on the higher skill side. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. No, I don't know enough about this card. I think he definitely takes some skill to use. And I remember he was super OP when he got first released, but now that he's nerfed, he definitely takes more skill. Rune Giant, some skill. She just boosts other units. Berserker, you're almost always gonna get value with the Berserker. Not a lot of skill to use her. Boss Bandit, you're almost always gonna get value. But she gets countered by many things. That's why she's not like no skill, right? I don't know. I hate the Boss Bandit though, so Spirit Empress, I don't know, some skill. I don't know enough about her. Yeah, I'm gonna put her not included. Um, we have the Evos. I mean, they're just kind of like the same. Evo Mortar's the same. Next up, we have Evo Knight, which, I mean, to get value, you have to make sure that, like, he's moving and stuff. But, I mean, well, minus the voice crack. I don't know. Is he always moving? Maybe. I mean, Evo Royal Recruits, but even worse. Bats are the same. I don't know where I put bats. I think in the low skill. Ice Spirit, same, some skill. Evil Valkyrie, okay, Evil Valkyrie is such a cop-out card, guys. I'm not even joking. Like, you put this down in the middle of a push, and you get instant value. Instant value. I don't want to say she's no skill. She's one of the best Evos in the game, but God, I mean, maybe cycling to her is a part that takes skill, but she literally gets value every single time. It is such an annoying card. Does not take a lot of skill to use the Evo effectively. Evo wall breakers are even worse. I mean, you're almost always going to get value. They somehow always get a connection. Evo Tesla, to get proper value, you need some skill. Evo Battering Ram is like just the same thing as regular Battering Ram. Evo Wizard is literally the same thing, except you don't need as much placement or timing because if he gets hit with a fireball, he'll just still live. Evo Goblin Barrel, I'm gonna say takes skill. I'm not putting in high skill because the regular barrel, it wasn't put in high skill. And he's just even more, actually no, Evo Goblin Barrel is low skill because if you think about it, he almost always gets, or they almost always get value. Because there's always going to be something hitting your tower. So easy to get value off of it. Evo, Goblin Giant, low skill. Evo Goblin Drill, regular skill, right? Yeah. Evo P.E.K.K.A is like a P.E.K.K.A, but just, I don't know, has an ability to get health, so she's also low skill. Now the Evo Electro Dragon, can be a very annoying card, because if there's like, let's say you have 10 units in your push, right? And let's say they're all like tanky, somewhat tanky. They're all like barbarians, right? The Electro Dragon will wipe it out instantly. So I would not say it requires a whole lot of skill to use, but the regular one definitely does. Evil Musketeer, to get value off of her, it definitely takes skill. Yeah, to use her Evo properly, it depends on what you're going to use it for. Definitely higher skill ceiling. Cannon, to get value out of the cannon with the Evo, it takes some skill, but not a whole lot. Evo Snowball. Evo Snowball does not take a lot of skill at all to get value. You kind of just put it on top and just watches everything tumbles away. Super annoying to witness. I hate it. Honestly, no. To get value out of an Evo Snowball, it takes no skill. If your defense sucks, you just put it down and watch as your opponent's entire push gets blown away. It takes no skill to use it properly. Regular Snowball, I guess so, but this one, it's such a cop-out card. Evo Hunter definitely takes skill to use. Not a ton of skill, but still skill. Evo Witch. Evo Witch is like a horrible card. You literally just put her down, and if your opponent can't do anything about it, she gets value immediately. Evo Inferno Dragon. Some skill? Actually, where did I put? Yeah, some skill. Evo Skeleton Barrel. Same thing as the regular barrel. Evo Furnace. Oh my god, even worse. Baby Dragon. On an Evo Dragon, I guess some skill. Actually, no, he has good defensive potential regardless. It does not take a lot of skill to use him effectively. To use a skeleton army, it depends on if you're like a pro player and you're just doing some crazy stuff with the general. But realistically, it's not gonna matter that much anyway. You're just kind of putting him down and then hoping that your opponent doesn't have arrows to kill the general. Evo Royal Ghost, to get good value, you have to play this card pretty smart. Definitely takes some skill. And Evo Royal Hogs. Not a lot of skill to use. You kind of just put them down, and then, yeah, that's it. Now we have the heroes, the banes of our existence. To use the Hero Knight does not take any skill, really. I don't want to say he's no skill, because he does require some proper timing and placement. Super annoying. Same thing with the Musketeer. You literally get value every single time. Her ability is so broken. They have to nerf that turret to deal less damage or have a very slow fire rate. Super annoying. To use the mini P.E.K.K.A hero properly, I mean, he just hits things and then he uses his ability. The only card I'd say that would take some skill to use properly is the Hero Giant, because you have to know when to commit, like what unit to throw, when to commit. But yeah. Okay, so that's it. That is my list for the cards in Clash Royale that require high skill, some skill, low skill, and no skill. This is obviously my personal opinion. I'm not the most skilled Clash Royale player. I'm not even that good of a Clash Royale player. I have like 10,000 trophies. Hopefully I'll reach rank someday, but this is all my opinion. So I'm sure you guys that are watching this are much better than me. And if you guys have any agreements or disagreements, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as per usual, if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it would truly help me out a lot, and I'd love to grow my channel and do this every day. So yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.